Boys, I didn't think I'd have to do this. I didn't think I would have to meet face to face with the Falcons owner ever in my life. But I guess welcome Blake to the chat for the AFC NFC South.
Thank you for having me.
Whatever. As always, TJ here with Daddy Dejin Watkins, who kind of forced me to do this. Uh,
South's gonna be.
it's um yeah. As for announcements, Uh, nothing really. I would do want Watkins to say he was thinking about the game of the week. He had some ideas if you wanted to explain what that was.
Oh yeah, we're gonna set game of the week every week this season. It's not just gonna be, you know, this team that's leading this division versus this team that's leading this division week in week out. I have the Saints versus Texans in like week 5 penciled in as one of the games of the week because that's fighting for the first overall pick next year. That's a good game of the week.
Yeah,
Maybe the first time the Chiefs face somebody that could actually beat them. That might be a game of the week. The week that the Jaguars and the Falcons play each other. That could be a game of the week. You
game
know,
of the century.
shit like that. And if we can swing it, we will eventually do monetary prizes to the winner of the games of the week. But we got to get more money first.
Yeah, I didn't really want to do just like the best teams because I don't think that's fair to some of the under teams. I mean, it does incentivize, I guess, to not tank, but we can always just have the game of the week and then games of the week, WEAK. Um, so we'll figure out what kind of cool prizes or rewards we'll do for that eventually. But um, I think it's going to be fun. Other than that, there's really nothing in terms of housekeeping. So we'll just jump right into it. Uh, we're going to start with questions for the Saints. So New Orleans, they did answer the question. Let me pull the question back up. It was, I'd like a bit of insight in the concrete plan because selling Olave and his other good pieces seem to indicate a full tank. Then he traded significant resources for more like win now pieces like Carr and Perrine. Just wondering what type of team Big Tree wants to be and what his goal is for the next year or years. Um, he did answer. We did save it.
For reference, he traded Jimmy Garoppolo and a 2023 first round pick for Derek Carr, AJ Dillon, and some player I've never heard of. And a 2023 second round pick for Perrine and a 2024 third round pick. So I don't know that I'd really consider it significant resources. I actually think he won both trades. Because if he wanted to, I still think he could flip Carr and Dillon for more than a first round pick.
Yeah.
Talk. You don't have to raise your hand, just talk.
Obviously, he already flipped Dylan. Dylan's on as a proud member of the Atlanta Falcons.
There you go. See, he's already flipped a member of that trade. And then Perrine, he got a third back, and it's the Chargers' third, so it's going to be a high third. He could flip Perrine for more than a third, and then he'd come out on top of that trade too. So, I don't necessarily think that they're win now pieces. I just think that he made a couple of smart trades where I think he'll be able to flip things for more than he paid for them.
Yeah, I think trading for Perrine's going to be one of those wait and see kind of guys.
And I think that's what he's doing. I think he's just going to wait and
if he blows up, and because I mean, yeah, you got to look at this division and feel, yeah, it's going to be a tough road to compete in with two of the teams. Basically, like a lot of the divisions, you just got that middle road, two up, two down, and he is just going to be on one of the lower sides.
Yeah, I just wanted to give context for the trade. You can read his answer.
Well, his answer was first time doing Dynasty or really anything other than a standard redraft with friends and family. Enjoyed it, so I thought I'd give this a try. I really struggled at the beginning on values in IDP and looked at my lineup and thought, well, I'm looking at something around 15 to 25. Then got wrapped up in the trading and forgot to make a long term plan. with that behind me, I'm hoping to rebuild. But as you alluded to, I've got some win now trades. I wanted Carr because I see him as the Saints starter, and I had 3 backup quarterbacks on the roster. I traded for Kareem because I don't know or didn't know if I was going to have a running back, especially after getting rid of Kamara, and I honestly didn't completely realize his value. Schedule looks like if I win more win now trades, I can be about 500, which puts me back where I started with worse talent. So I don't know where I'm headed. Hoping to get through training camp and give away a few more of my vets and completely dive into this rebuild, but we'll see where everything ends up. Next year, we'll see how the draft goes, and we'll just kind of play it by ear. So
So he's
that
not
was
really
his
giving too much away, and I might have given him a little too much credit on the trades, but I mean, he's not in a bad spot. I mean, I don't know that Ezekiel Elliott really has any value left, but he's got him, Perrine, Derek Carr, Jawan Johnson. He still has pretty much the whole New Orleans Saints starting 7 on, or the 7 on defense, like the 7 up front, plus all of their defensive backs. So, plus like Damari Mathis was, he traded Tyrann Mathieu for him. So he's still got a lot of things he could trade. Plus he's got Laviska Shenault, McCall Hardman, a bunch of rookies.
Yeah, I think if he does get to that training camp period and start peeling off some vets, he can really start making a rebuild push.
Plus he still has a first, 3 seconds, 5 thirds in the 2024 draft. I think he's fine. He just needs to continue selling. But yeah, the wait and see approach. I mean, obviously the trade market's pretty dead right now, but it's gonna jump back into high gear once the season starts and people start getting injured and people start popping off. And the Saints
already injured.
Saints still have plenty of people that they can sell for more picks and more young players. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious that he didn't pick his direction maybe as quickly as the rest of us did, but he's still in a good spot, I think, to rebuild. I think it's just going to take a little bit longer.
Yeah, and he's got Zeke, so I mean, you never know where he lands. So
if he
that
lands,
could be another. I think he'll land somewhere. It's just going to take a desperate team that needs that horse. So, so Blake, I noticed that there are no bullet holes behind you. Did you clean all that up before we started filming, or is there like some kind of like bulletproof thing behind you?
It's come standard when you buy a house in Atlanta. It's just all bulletproof, just to keep everybody safe. It's pretty good perk.
Okay, just curious. Next question. Actually, let's. That was the only question, so we'll actually go to what our predictions are.
That's going to be the only Falcons question.
That'd be hilarious if it was.
Oh, I got a couple more. Yeah.
Okay.
I got New Orleans at 4-9. Watkins.
Oh yeah, projections are a thing that we did.
Yeah, we do project.
You have New Orleans at 4-9. Who
4-9.
the fuck do you think this team is beating? I have them at 1-12. This is the first time we're this far off on a projection.
Yeah, made me pull up this shit on my phone, aren't you?
I'm curious because I look at their schedule and I see 1 win maybe. I have them beating the Texans in week 5, and that's just because I know for a fact El Cacho is not going to let himself win a game. He's going to find a way to lose to the Saints. I mean, I guess they play the Packers, they play the Lions, they play the Titans.
Lose the Vikings, lose the Panthers. I have them beating the Packers.
I could see that maybe.
Losing to the Bucks, beating the Texans, losing to the Falcons, losing to the Bears, losing to the Panthers, losing to the Colts. I have them edging out Detroit week 10, losing the Bucks. Let's see here. How many was that? 2, 3?
3. So you have them beating the Titans in week 12, I'm guessing.
I think I have them beating the Bucks or splitting with the Bucks. So one of those is a win.
I mean, I could see them splitting with the Bucks if Slomage shows up and goes full tank. But you have them like beating all the other tanking teams, and I just don't know. I mean, I guess it'll depend on if Tree shows up and goes the rest of the way full tank, because I guess his starting defense is actually pretty decent.
Those other tanking teams are full tank,
and are gonna make sure they lose, right?
We just said that he has not. I mean, his quarterback is probably better than all their quarterbacks. and then he does have starting running backs. I mean, he's got a wide receiver. He's got a decent tight end. I think he's got a pretty good defense though. So yeah, his linebackers aren't bad. So
Yeah, he's still got the New Orleans defense, so it's pretty decent.
yeah, so
that's fair.
yeah,
I guess he could beat all the other. I'm giving Tree more credit that he's gonna finish the tank at some point. But I guess if it ends up being mid-season, he could end up beating some of these other tanking teams. But yeah, I only had him at 1-12.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll see. That's why we play the games, right?
Yeah.
All right. So questions. Next, we've got I've got Tampa Bay on my list. So the Bucks. The question, which was these are all by Leon Hard too. That acquiring Rodgers seemed like a move aimed at being competitive. So is that the plan? And if that is the case, why weren't there really any moves to support that notion? Or if that isn't the plan, what's the view on the whole quarterback situation?
Disclaimer, current Bucks owner was not the Bucks owner that made these trades. Obviously,
Yes.
Deke got removed from the league and Slomid came in to take over the Bucks, so Slomid can't really answer these questions because he didn't make the trade.
Yeah, and Sloman's been a little quiet since he started. He kind of started in hot and he's taking a bit of a backseat until the season starts. So, I mean, who knows what was going on in Deke's mind?
Yeah, I'll answer for Deke as nicely as I can here, because he didn't have any fucking time for this and joined it anyway. One of the last times I talked to him when I was trying to acquire some of the Buccaneers players, he told me that he still had no idea what he wanted to do with his team and he'd get back to me. And that was, 8 months after joining the league. So, that was Deke's thought process. He had no fucking idea.
Okay. Well,
more power to Slomid. I still think that the Bucks roster that he inherited isn't the worst.
No.
It's kind of better that he didn't completely destroy it before.
Yeah, the worst part is that he doesn't have his own first-round pick next year. He's got the 49ers first-round pick instead. Same thing with a second round. He's got an extra second round actually from the 49ers, but then he still has his own second, third, and fourth. And then so he's got all the draft picks. The only thing that's different is that he's got the 49ers first instead of his own. And then he's got Aaron Rodgers and Odell Beckham, and doesn't have Chris Godwin, I think. But other than that, it's still just the Bucks roster. Oh, I guess the linebacker, Devin White. He doesn't have him either. I don't remember what Deke traded him for.
So yeah, I mean, this team isn't horrible. I mean, they're probably undervaluing White at 190 points. They're probably overvaluing Evans at 207.
Oh no, Evans gonna find a way.
You think so?
Yes.
I don't know, but I'm not too high up on Tampa's.
Evans is gonna corner Baker Mayfield in the locker room and be like, "Motherfucker, if I do not get 1,000 yards this season, you'll never play football again." Because won't he break a record if he gets 1,000 yards this year?
I don't know. Are they going to start Baker? Did they say that they're going to start
Come
Baker?
on, Baker's gonna beat Kyle Trask.
I mean, I would hope so, but
I'm pretty sure if Mike Evans hits 1,000 yards this year, he'll break the record for the most 1,000-yard seasons in a row.
I never noticed how much Cade Otton looks like Tom Brady, kind of.
I like Cade Otton too. He kind of flies under the radar. I think he's going to be good.
I'd like him more if he didn't screw me over last year, but I think he's a big tight end, and I think he'll score more than 3 touchdowns this year for sure. He'll probably break 100 points easy.
I'm kind of optimistic about OBJ too. I mean, obviously he's 30, so he's not young anymore, but I mean, I'd trade for him. Any contending team would, I think.
He's 30 and he's injury prone, and he's a big crybaby. So I mean,
is he injury prone? No, he had the big injury with the Rams in the playoffs, and then 2017 with the Giants. But other than that, he hasn't really missed any more games than any other receivers here and there.
Yeah, he's only missed about 33% of his career. That's
What his rookie year in the league, he missed 4 games. He missed 1 game in 2015. Played the whole season the next year. Then he had a big injury. Then the year he came back, he only missed a couple games. Then played a whole season again. Then had the another injury year and then played almost a whole season again with the Rams. So he's played more full seasons than he hasn't.
And in that 2021 season, he only scored 130 points.
Well, yeah. I don't
So
really know that he's going to be much more than what he was with the Rams. But it also wasn't. He played the whole season except for the playoffs because he didn't sign until a couple weeks into the season.
right. Yeah, no, you're right.
He looked like he was putting together with the Rams.
Yeah, and the Rams had Cooper Kupp too. Like the Ravens don't have Cooper Kupp. Like OBJ is wide receiver 1 on the Ravens. He wasn't wide receiver 1 on the Rams.
But you had Matt Stafford and not Lamar Jackson throwing too.
Yeah, Jackson's better.
At throwing?
Yes. I think Stafford's. I think he got a Super Bowl and now he's going to ride off into the sunset.
Well, how many Super Bowls has Lamar Jackson won?
Well, okay.
So close.
It was very close. Personally, I don't know that Jackson's. I'll rephrase. I don't know that Jackson's better than throwing the ball than Stafford, but I don't think that just because he's a running quarterback, he's bad at throwing the ball.
Well, I mean, he's turned Andrews into a monster throwing the football. So
right.
I mean,
he also hasn't really had any legit receivers.
Yeah. Will, Zay, OBJ, and Andrews. Like, I'm curious to see how they all three end up in fantasy, splitting the Lamar targets.
I mean, honestly, in my opinion, it's probably going to be mostly Tyler Huntley throwing because now that he got paid, he's going to get hurt. That's just how it goes. But again, we'll see. I'm just not a big fan of OBJ. And that was as I was at the time that they won the Super Bowl, a bit of a Rams fan still. So.
Oh, I'm optimistic. I still think. I mean, I'm not. It doesn't matter because if I was Sloman, I'd sell him. But I think he'd get a lot of buyers. Because we're just talking about the assets that the Buccaneers have still.
He'd get multiple offers for sure, I think, if he put OBJ up.
I wouldn't mind having OBJ as my third wide receiver for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he'd be wide receiver 1 for a lot of teams.
That's true.
A lot of teams probably wouldn't trade for him that would have him as wide receiver 1 though.
Yeah, probably not. And he still has Levante David while being 33 is still a fucking wrecking ball of a linebacker.
Yeah.
Any good team could get another year. Would pay for a year of Levante David. Anton Winfield, one of the best young safeties in the league. I'm really high on Troyan Shoyinka.
I like Rachaad White a lot. I don't know if you
Yes,
talked about
Rachaad White.
Yeah. He's, like I said, I think he'll score more than 190 points this year. They only have him projected to score 6 rushing touchdowns. They're going to rely on him a lot more.
And then he got the draft picks that Deke made, obviously. Or when did I kick Deke? Was it mid-draft?
It was after the.
I think it was after the draft, you're right.
It was after the draft.
Which was Roshan Johnson and Tyler Scott, both Bears players. Which, interesting decision to draft rookies from the Bears ever. Well, I got a Bears fan, I can say this. We don't do too hot with rookies on offense, at least. I'm saying it's a running back and a wide receiver. These guys may never see the light of day again.
Yeah.
And Zach Evans, the running back that the Rams drafted.
Yeah. I'm not huge on Cam Akers, but Evans has got a long way to go before he.
Yeah, all three of those guys do. I mean, Roshan Johnson's sitting behind 4 running backs on the depth chart right now, probably. And Tyler Scott, likewise, sitting behind 9 wide receivers because we've got 2 of them and then just a litany of the same dude. There's just.
I feel like that's Rams and running backs. They just collect.
After DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney, and Chase Claypool is 7 guys that are the same size and have the same skill set. It's just copies of the same dude.
Well, now you got me curious.
The only team worse than that is the Giants right now. They have 9 of literally the same dude.
Yeah.
Got me curious.
You can't have 9 slot receivers. I don't know how that's going to work.
Onto what you've got the ranking to be for them, because if you think they're going to be that bad, because I don't have their ranking horrible.
I don't have their ranking horrible, like their projection. I don't think it's horrible. I'm saying the draft class that he inherited isn't great.
What's your projection?
6 and 7.
You actually have it better than me. I have them at 5 and 8. So
1 game off.
Yeah.
I pretty much have them beating the tanking teams. I have them beating the Packers, Saints, and Texans and Titans, and then losing everybody else.
It's just almost the perfect kind of middle of the road.
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah, and I mean, much. They could easily lose way more games than that if they go full tank, if Slomage shows up and sells off. Or they could be better. I mean, they've got a decent base. He still could, if he wanted to, compete. The problem is Rodgers at quarterback, who did just sign a 2-year deal, so maybe he's got him for 2 years.
He didn't sign it. He restructured, didn't he?
Restructured, yes, into a cheaper 2-year deal.
Yeah.
But I don't know that he would restructure into a 2-year deal and give the Jets more cap space if he didn't plan on playing for 2 years.
Which is actually good news for Dalvin Cook owners. So we'll see if that's where he ends up going. I wouldn't mind seeing that. It'd be kind of weird
that rumor at all.
It's new. Yeah, he's apparently visiting there. But
I'm sure he's visiting lots of places. I don't know why the Jets would want to pay Dalvin Cook. I think Breece Hall and Michael Carter are fine.
Because it's Dalvin.
You might want the Super Bowl discount to have a shot at it.
Maybe.
Yeah. All right. Next question. Blake, I see you got some Kleenexes back there next to your window. Is there like the typical Atlanta strip club right outside your window, or what's going on with that?
Drying my 28-3 tears. Either one. They're very versatile.
I mean, you still got a box of Kleenexes, so you're clearly not cleaning your 28-3 tears. But with that, on to Carolina. Let's see what question was asked about Carolina. The defense is insane, definitely, and this team should make the playoffs. Do you think it's strong enough on offense to really compete? We'll have to answer for him, and the answer is for me an easy yes. I think they will probably be. They could very well be one of the top 2 teams in the NFC. Easy top 4, and I wouldn't be surprised if they made it to the finals.
Huh.
Every time I look at Carolina's team, I change my mind. Like sometimes I open it up and I'm like, I don't know if the offense is going to keep them afloat. And then sometimes I look and I'm like, I'm terrified because I think they might have spike weeks on defense, where 3 guys score 150 points.
I don't think their offense is horrible, honestly, either. I mean, I'm a big fan of Brian Robinson. Deontay Foreman's good, and he's probably going to start for Chicago. So he's got a starter and a half at running back.
Sorry, I'm jumping in mid-question here, mid-answer.
Yeah,
I heard you hype up Brian Robinson again, though, and I'm tired of that shit. He's not going to be good. Fucking Antonio, what's his nuts?
Antonio's too good to not at least split with him.
Yeah.
I mean, Brian Robinson would probably make a great Packer. He's already been shot, so I mean that pretty much is one of the qualifications to be on Atlanta's team. But he's probably too good for him, to be honest. Also, so maybe I don't know. But yeah, he's got Higgins.
Yeah, too good for them. You know, they're really hurting with Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier over there.
Yeah, we hit the Goldman on a rookie. Rushes for 1,000 yards just to go draft one with the 8th overall pick.
Yeah,
Jordan Love is probably their weak point. Well, I don't know. Their tight end's probably their weak point.
We've had this discussion about Packers quarterbacks.
I'm not a Shakir fan. I'm not a Sky Moore fan. I think Jordan Love is very middle of the road.
No, listen. I'm a Bears fan. You don't understand. Jordan Love is gonna be a Hall of Fame quarterback. That's how it works. You don't understand. That's how it works.
Honest question.
What?
He is projected 3,604 yards this year on Sleeper.
He's throwing for 4,500.
You think he'll throw over 4,000?
Yeah, he's throwing 4,800. No? He might break 5,000.
No chance he gets 4.
He might set the passing record this year.
Okay, so we're just Watkins doesn't count because he's just. I think he will break 4,000 yards.
I don't
think 36 is close to where he'll be. He might not even hit that.
Being 100% legitimate, I don't know enough about Jordan Love as a player to accurately predict what he'll be this year. I have to think that sitting behind Rodgers for any amount of time only did good for him. If he was going to sit behind anybody, at least it was fucking Aaron Rodgers. And, like I said, Green Bay just has a habit of pulling Hall of Fame quarterbacks out of their ass. So I wouldn't be surprised if Jordan Love ends up being very good.
I could just see him being a better NFL real-life quarterback than a fantasy quarterback.
Yeah, I could totally see that.
Like very Jimmy G-ish. Like, fine.
Yeah.
He could end up being just like
Yeah.
Alex Smithish.
Yeah. I
Good
think
game manager.
good. I mean, even Matt Ryan, like he had
Yeah.
he had the one good fantasy season, but other than that, good football player, but just he was never really a threat.
I agree with Sky more. I think his projections are higher than he's actually going to score. The Chiefs, historically, outside of Tyreek Hill, don't really support a true wide receiver one. As long as Kelsey's there, the Chiefs are never going to have a true wide receiver one. Kelsey is their wide receiver one. Tyreek Hill was the anomaly, and for good reason. I mean, the dude's gone before you blink. He's already downfield with nobody around him. It's kind of hard to not support a player like that. Any quarterback could. I mean, Tua did it just fine immediately.
What do you feel about Romeo Doubs?
I really don't know. The Packers wide receiver room is so muddy. They're all rookies, except for
Dobbs and
Watson
Watson.
going into his second year. I think Doubs is going into his second year too, but then it's all rookies. Like any one of these guys
And that's why I think
could be wide
Love is
receiver too.
going to throw for over 4,000. I think him being as young as these guys, they're going to meld and mesh a lot better than what Rodgers was doing with these kids.
That's
Uh,
potentially
I
very
think
true.
it'll be the Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon show.
Could also
Now,
be
if
very
you throw,
true.
he could throw for a bunch of yards to Aaron Jones. That could boost his catch and run, but
Yeah, and I mean their head coach likes to run the ball, so I mean if they can do that effectively, I mean it just opens up for.
Let's see. I agree. Khalil Shakir, I could go either way for me. I look at the Buffalo Bills the same way I kind of look at the Chiefs, where like outside of Stephon Diggs, it's who fucking cares. You know, yeah, they've got Gabe Davis, who
Yeah.
is a guy, just like everybody else on the roster who's not named Stephon Diggs.
He is
and if
indeed a guy.
Kincaid is what they think Kincaid is,
Even if
he'll
he's
be
not,
wide
I
receiver
actually
too.
really like Dawson Knox. I think Dawson
Yeah.
Knox showed plenty to be a starting tight end, and they drafted Kincaid anyway.
Hmm.
But that's true, yeah. If they get a legit, I think they'll have a legit starter tight end either way, and Kincaid works out or not, because I think Knox next man up is going to be great. I think between the tight end and then Stephon Diggs, any Bills wide receiver is a shot in the dark, the same way that the Chiefs ones are.
Okay. Carolina's projections. I've got them 11-2.
I have the Panthers going 12-1.
Who you got them losing to?
The Colts in Week 12.
I don't like
I'm
that.
getting swept.
I didn't really like that either, but that's what I came up with.
Don't they play me once this year?
Yeah, you're losing to the Panthers, just like I am, in Week 10.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, we're all
You
losing to the
sure about
Panthers,
that?
except for the Colts, apparently.
You sure about that?
Hey, that's what I got. 12-1. We're all losing to the Panthers this year, except for the Colts for some reason. And I don't have a good reason for why I think the Colts are going to beat the Panthers. I looked at the matchup and I went, I think the Colts might edge them out here. And I just went, fuck it. I don't want to have an undefeated team. I'm not gonna.
Honestly, the more we go through, the more I'm thinking I don't visions.
I look at their starting defense and I'm like, no one's beating that. Just nobody.
That's why
Nobody.
every time I look at it, I'm like, all right, I can handle these guys. And then I think they're going to have these weird peaks and valleys. I think they're going to score 400 points one week, and then might have like a very mediocre week.
I mean, that's how defense works too.
I don't know though.
I mean, you look at Max Crosby. He's, obviously one of the best defensive players in the league. But even last year, he had a week where he only scored 6.5 points.
Sure.
If you get a week like that out of 3 of your defensive guys, you just lost. Like, there's no question about it, because your offense isn't the one dragging you over the hill. It's your defense.
Yeah.
So if you get a week where Crosby...
I'm so fascinated to see how it works out.
I look at their defense and I'm like, yeah, that's like the best player at half of the positions in the league. No one's beating that.
Yeah.
And their offense is just good enough that they'll be able to keep them competing with the teams like the Cowboys. They don't even play any of the other big teams. The only other teams that they play this year that are in like the top 10 of our like power rankings, like the top 10 teams in the league, are you and I, the three of us. It's just the three of us. we're the only good teams they play this year, and then I'll throw the Colts in with us, and maybe the Vikings in with us.
I think the Colts are a lot better than people are.
I agree, which is why I have them beating the Panthers. So it's like
Yeah,
5 teams. Outside of that, the other 7 games they play are guaranteed wins, damn near.
The
I'm
NFC
really
South
hoping.
definitely has favorable schedules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who did you? All right. Offensive Player of the Year.
This guy, man.
That's right. I forgot that there's only 3 teams in this division, so we just skip right over to the MVPs. I can't stop looking at the Panthers defense. It's so disgusting. Okay, on to the.
Yeah.
The...
No, I mean, no, we can stay on that because I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have 5 and this is just projection, and I think Sleeper under projects defensive players horribly. They have 5 projected to score over 200 points. I would challenge anybody to look at any other team and see if any other defense had
I said it on our power rankings.
3 over 200, and one they have projected at 314.
Yeah, never forget. TJ traded Foyesade-Loloquan for Xavier Woods, Chuba Hubbard, and a 3rd-round pick. Best linebacker in the league last year.
Okay.
Traded him away for a pair of 3rd-rounders.
Yeah. And he fleeced me. Yes, and I know it, and I am ashamed to admit it. And this will be the last time that it's ever spoken of again.
No, anytime we talk about the Panthers, I'm going to make sure that everybody knows that the reason he has the best linebacker, the highest scoring linebacker in the league, is because you gave him to him for free.
Well, he owes me, when he wins, he owes me at least my money back. So, free year.
All right. Bite the bullet. On to the Falcons.
Atlanta. The Falcons.
I don't care that you're here either, Blake. I'm gonna be
brutally
honest about how I feel about your team.
Hey, no, go for it.
Questions. Okay, so first question that we came up with is, I see that you have a lot of books back there. I didn't know that they could afford to keep their schools open. So are those just coloring books, or it looks like one's maybe Goosebumps, so maybe 3rd grade level?
This was a football podcast.
Sure is.
Don't hate on my Goosebumps. I got those at.
Oh, okay, it is Goosebumps. I don't hate.
1999.
Glad to know you got the education of a 5-year-old. All right, so let's see here. You got Josh Allen. Man, that was a good trade on your part.
Was it though?
Look, who did he start with at quarterback?
Desmond Ridder.
Turned him into Josh Allen. Yes, I understand.
Turned Desmond Ridder to Lamar Jackson to Josh Allen.
Yeah. And did you have Rodgers at one point?
No Rodgers.
No, you're just seeing the Josh Allen trade.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so
Desmond Ridder to Lamar Jackson to Josh Allen. I personally would just rather have Lamar Jackson, I think. But that's a personal preference. I'm fucking with you when I say, is it really a good trade?
There was, I feel like Josh Allen is more set than forget it instead of having to.
Absolutely, he is.
I'm not a big guy who's like, oh, Lamar's going to be injured. I think he'll be okay. But there is that risk.
I just like the rushing upside in fantasy. That's the only reason I say that.
Sure. I mean, Allen's that dude too. I mean, not.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. Allen can also run.
Yeah, he runs a lot.
They're running back.
Well, you paid Lamar Jackson a 1st and a 2nd for Josh Allen, which is not bad. And the 1st was Kimchi's 1st too, so barely a 1st.
Let's see here.
That was more of a
that was 2023 1st actually. So still, actually, the Chiefs won the Super Bowl last year. Was still barely a 1st.
776 yards rushing, pretty good.
Yeah. That's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, he was their running back the last 2 years. So, I mean, he can run. I hope he runs less because I think he still has a great arm. Sometimes inaccurate.
And he's getting up there. 27 years old now.
Oh, man. Get him a wheelchair.
I'm just saying,
Um,
he's
Gross.
not quite as young and spry anymore. Can't be taking them giant hits.
No,
no,
for
absolutely not.
fantasy owners, yeah, you don't want to see him getting crushed over the middle like he likes to do.
27 for a quarterback, obviously still young. Like, I'm not saying he's fucking
Yeah.
get him out of here. Old man Allen's not going to hang around very much longer. He's probably got another 8 years at least.
Yeah. Traded to get Travis Kelce by trading Andrews, which means you went from the Pitts to Andrews to Kelce. Do you think that trading all that for Kelce will end up being worth it? Do you think he's going to be the guy that he's been the past couple of years? He is 33. I mean, he's getting up there in age. I know tight ends tend to normally not wear down quite like one wide receivers, but I mean, he's got to hit a wall at some point, right?
Yeah, no, this was definitely like I could see not a lot of people like that, especially from a dynasty perspective. But I just when you look at what Kelsey's put up, like it's like okay, one's tight end one, one's tight end two, but I think especially with like we were talking about with OBJ and Zay Flowers and a healthy J.K. Dobbins, I think I can get 100 extra points out of Kelsey than I can Andrews. And even if Kelsey does regress, I still think he's still top three, even if he's not superstar. It definitely pushes a win now window for sure. And if it doesn't work out,
I agree that Kelce gives you the best chance to win at tight end. Obviously, he's the number one tight end in the league. He has been a top 10 tight end for a decade straight. And I only have to say top 10 because 2014 and 2015, he was the number 9 tight end. If you just start at 2016, he's been the number 1 tight end in PPR every year for 8 years straight, except for 2021.
And man, sometimes that doesn't even tell the story. There's some of those years where he's number 1 and he's number 1 by 100 points.
Yeah,
like it's not
close.
He's not even
close.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Travis Kelce's got a couple years left in him. I don't see him retiring. I think as long as he still has it, he's going to play.
Okay.
I think as long as the Chiefs are still willing to pay him and he can play at the level that he likes to play at, he will continue to play. I think at some point the Chiefs are like, hey, we can't afford you.
I don't think that'll happen.
I think he'll retire. I don't think he'll ever play I don't think he'll do it like Gronk did. I think once Kelce hangs it up, he's gone.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't think he'll play for anything else other than the Chiefs. I don't think he wants to. But I think if he can keep even at a top 5 level over the next couple of years, then why wouldn't you want Kelce?
Even bad or slow or Kelce should still be
top 10, easy, and maybe even top 5.
And then, as we'll talk about when we look at my receivers, the push for Kelce was kind of my thought of like, maybe that'll help make up for my weird, random wide receiver room.
Speaking of wide receivers, starting Gabe Davis, Darnell Mooney, and Kadarius Toney.
I don't think that's a bad wide receiver. Honestly, I feel like you picked 4 upper mediocre wide receivers, and all you have to do is have one of them have a breakout year.
100% the strategy. I was like, I don't know if Toney will stay healthy. I don't know what Mooney will be. I actually like Mooney this year with some pressure taken off of him with DJ Moore.
Mooney, I will tell you, as a Bears fan, diehard Bears fan, Mooney is an incredibly gifted wide receiver who should never be more than a wide receiver 2. I look at Mooney and I see, hey, that's a T. Higgins. That's Chris Godwin. That's Jalen Waddle. Mooney is someone who will thrive having someone like DJ Moore to take pressure off of him.
That's the dream.
So I actually love Mooney, and it makes me sad that I traded him for as early as I did because I probably could have held him and got more.
For the most part, all 4 of them have very similar projections. So, it just
like if Toney gets hurt, then like maybe Peoples-Jones can come in and do something. And, someone else is a bust. Hopefully, like you said, I can get 2 of them.
Yeah, I mean, if Diggs goes down, Gabe Davis becomes the number 1, and with Josh Allen throwing to him, I mean,
I think the most likely scenario, you're looking at wide receiver 1, Darnell Mooney, wide receiver 2, Donovan Peoples-Jones. I'm not high on Kadarius Toney for the same reason I'm not high on Sky Moore, but even worse because he's got duct tape and twig for a leg.
He's already tweaked it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, even if Kadarius Toney does stay healthy, he's still on the Chiefs. So
he's
it's
just
the Travis Kelce show.
When I made that trade for him, I was like, okay, if there's anyone that has the talent to take targets away from Kelce, it's Toney.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he could be the next Tyreek Hill if his leg holds up.
All right, so question for you guys. Which one do you think out of these four ends up with the most points at the end of the year?
Darnell Mooney.
Falcons guy.
I'm biased, though.
Yeah, I'm really high on Mooney. I think him or Gabe.
I was going Gabe Davis. Something tells me Diggs is just going to have something happen. I don't know that it'll be injury prone or an injury thing, but I think one bad game and he's just going to flake out probably for a few games, and they're going to rely on Gabe Davis.
I feel like I've read a few things about Gabe. They want to see what they have with him, and so give him some opportunities.
I don't personally believe that Gabe Davis is good enough to fill Diggs' shoes. So I think if Diggs goes down, yes, Gabe Davis becomes wide receiver 1, but I think you then see Josh Allen start spreading it a lot more instead of looking at where Diggs would be. Because Davis is not Diggs. So instead of Allen going, all right, where's Diggs? He's going to be like, all right, shit, who's open? Instead of him going, where's Diggs?
You know what? I'll just run the ball.
Right, fuck it, I'll just take off.
Funny story is, I was actually looking at their 21 projections. Here's their 20 projections. They actually have Toney out projected.
I don't.
But yeah, I still think Davis.
Yeah,
what about
my lottery ticket? If it works out, awesome. But I understand.
Yeah, and that's a great way to look at him. Kadarius Toney is definitely nothing more than a lottery ticket.
Yeah. Pierce versus Dillon. Which one do you think will actually have the better year?
Pierce for sure. But I love Dillon. I'm a huge AJ Dillon fan.
I hope that this is the AJ Dillon year, but it's like Aaron Jones just won't stop being awesome.
Aaron Jones is Derrick Henry light. That's how I look at Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones somehow just keeps going. Like he hasn't slowed down yet. He's
a freak and just can do it all.
Yeah. Anytime they're like, "Here, Aaron, today's your day," he's like, "Cool, bet," and just goes. Obviously, he doesn't have the stats to back up being compared to Derrick Henry, but I don't know. For some reason, in my head, it's like, yeah, Aaron Jones, the dude who's going to be doing this still when he's 34 somehow. And that's how I think of Derrick Henry.
Is the time with the new quarterback that they do get Dillon more involved.
I mean, Green Bay has supported both of them for a couple years now. Dillon is obviously not like an RB1 starter, but he finished 23 and 26 in PPR the past 2 years. That's still a top 32 back, and in a league like this, having 2 top 32 backs is better than half the league.
No, 100%. All right, last question I had, and I just realized one of them was the 2020.
I want to go back to Pierce real quick. Obviously, we've only got 1 year to look at him, and he was hurt half the year, but I'm still a huge Dameon Pierce fan and think that Singletary is not... Yeah, Singletary is not competition. So I think Dameon Pierce is going.
A new quarterback and new weapons just take a little pressure off of him. Because I feel like a defense could watch film and be like, well, if we stop Pierce, that's the whole offense. They'll have more to worry about this year.
All right, now you can move on to defense.
Kirksey and Mechie for 2 firsts. Do you think it was worth it, or did you overpay?
What was that trade again? I don't even remember what it was.
Kirksey and Mechie for 2023 first round and a 2025 first round from El Cacho.
I overpaid for sure.
Okay. I agree. The 2023 first round was the Cowboys first round, so it went like a mid-late first.
They weren't huge picks. So when I started this league, I hadn't done a ton of IDP either, and was definitely flying by the seat of my pants. But I am, as you guys can see, very active, like making trades, like screwing around. And so I think I was just, flying by the seat of my pants. And there were definitely some buttons I pressed early that I was like,
we all made trades for sure. I've made a couple trades I wish I could take back. TJ traded Foyesade for a pair of thirds, and some dude I've never heard of. Like, it's, that's a trade he wishes he could have back. I don't hate Christian Kirksey.
I had this small window. I like Kirksey a lot. I don't regret having Kirksey. I had this small window of just being super high on Mechie for whatever reason, and then I don't know, it just kind of cooled off.
And
I
then
was
you
like,
traded him for Kadarius Toney. He was part of the Kadarius Toney trade. So I mean, pair of firsts, and you got Christian Kirksey and a piece that lets you get Kadarius Toney. I agree that it's an overpay, but I don't think it's like a fucking crazy overpay. I like Christian Kirksey. I know he's 30, but I think he's got a couple years still.
Mm-hmm.
And he's definitely one of the better linebackers in the league. So
I didn't realize
early on I kind of mortgaged my defense to get my offense together. And so I needed, once I saw how kind of bad my defense was, I had to start making some moves.
For me, the worst part is that he's 30, and you've got one pick in the next 3 years. So
for sure,
replacing these guys if they go down is going to be rough.
Yeah.
I hate to admit it, but I mean, I do think the Falcons went from a bottom half team, maybe middle, like 17th, 18th, to probably one of the better teams in the league.
I mean, absolutely. I look at the Falcons roster as a potential top 10 team in the league.
Sure. For what it's worth, I kind of have myself in that range too, kind of like in that kind of lower half of the top 10. But I think I do have top 4 upside. But easily things could go sideways, and I could find myself.
I could agree with that.
Toward the middle.
Personally, I think your starting lineup is perfect. For a top 10, pushing top 5 team. Like, it's one of the better in the league. For me, it's depth. I look at the depth. I'm like, cool, he's got Donovan Peoples-Jones. And that's it.
Now, I see it's starting to get dark through Blake's curtains there. So I know he's going to have to start battening down the hatches here soon. So let's go ahead and get to his projections.
Hold on.
Blake,
I'm on the clock again.
Okay, well, Blake can go ahead and give me his projection for what he thinks he's going to do.
I got myself at 10-3.
Wrong. Okay.
And I haven't pinpointed my exact losses, but I think I could split with the Panthers, for one. I actually think I'm going to split the commissioner matchups. I think one of you guys are going to get me. I'm going to get the other one. And then the Vikings will also be a tough matchup for me. But just about every other matchup I feel pretty good about.
I don't want to give mine yet. Watkins?
10-3 is really close. I have you going 9-4, so I'm only one game off. I also have you splitting the commissions.
Nice.
I have you losing to the Bears in week 3 and then beating the Jaguars in week 12.
I couldn't decide which one I was going to put down, but I think...
the only other loss is I have you losing to the Panthers both times. I think the Panthers beat you out, and I have you losing to the Colts. So besides the Panthers twice and the Colts, I have you losing to me in week 3. But I think that game could just as easily go the other way.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think any of them could just as easily go the other way.
That's why I'm so interested in how the Panthers matchups are going to go.
Week 12 is going to be a good week.
I've got 9-4. Yeah. Okay.
You also have 9-4.
Yeah. Well, pigs flew. Okay. So Blake will give you the option to chime in on this if you want. I'm sure you didn't do any preparation or anything like that. Too busy, dodging gang members and stuff. But offensive player of the year, Watkins, I'll let you pick first this time.
I always go first on defense. Do not fuck with me. Who do you have as the offensive MVP? I already know who it is, and you don't want to say it because it's one of his players.
You got any idea who you think it's going to be, Blake? I mean, it's pretty fucking obvious.
It's Josh Allen. Obviously, it's Josh Allen.
It is. I mean,
I know I'm not in the defensive discussion, but you got to give me Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, 100%. I don't see Josh Allen getting injured.
Yeah, I think it's Josh Allen, and the only way it's not Josh Allen is if Josh Allen gets hurt.
Okay.
So, yes, the offensive MVP for the year is on the Falcons team out of this division.
Sure. Okay. Defensive player of the year.
This one's not fair because the Panthers.
I'm gonna drive
5 Panthers you can choose from.
I'm gonna drive the knife in just a little bit deeper and go with Foyesade Juan as the defensive MVP of the year out of this division.
Former Falcon, great too.
I mean, you look at what he did last year and like, damn, he can't repeat that, surely. And you go, oh, wait,
Sure.
he already did.
I know me personally, I would never trade a guy like that.
Yeah,
That's
I
me.
know. I don't know why you would ever
I
move somebody like that in this type of league, if you're trying to compete at least.
I yeah, me too. That's no one's gonna come close to him. So,
I mean,
but
somebody could come close to him. Obviously, he might not, he might not three-peat almost 200 tackles. It's possible. Frankie Lavu, Logan Wilson,
Crosby, all
fucking
those
even
guys.
Max Crosby could get up there if he gets a fuckload of sacks. Obviously, Crosby's really sack dependent, but he gets them. So all it takes is a couple extra sacks this year, and he could get up there if Floyd State has a down year.
I bet they said that at the end of the 21 season when he scored 360 points. Oh, he's not gonna do that again.
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't see a reason that he won't do it again unless he gets hurt. Like the dude's a monster.
Yeah. Well, with that, it's about time to call it. I think we're a little over an hour. So, Blake, if you've got any last words to say or anything to throw out that you're trying to trade or looking for, speak now.
Nothing specific right now. I just want to say thanks for having me on, and I really enjoyed what you guys have done with the league and with the community. And I don't know, I'm excited to see what we do with
I'm trying.
it.
I'm just here. I'm just here so I don't get fined.
It's true.
All right.
To everybody watching, TJ does nothing behind the scenes. You're looking at the most effort TJ puts in on a weekly basis right now.
It seems like you did a lot of work for Atlanta Burns.
Nah.
Oh, that was just off the top of my head. I mean, it's easy to burn Atlanta. It's burning already. I mean, fuck. Where's the marshmallows? You make it easy. I mean, how much is it for you to go into your zoo?
What?
Does it cost? Because I mean, here in St. Louis, it's free to see our animals. Well, I guess it is free to get into Atlanta by itself, so that's a good point.
That
I don't even know what this is
was a long way around to get to the joke.
doing.
Yeah, it wasn't the plan. I actually just wanted to know how much it was to get into the Atlanta Zoo. Do you have a zoo?
Of course, we have a zoo.
Oh, okay.
I feel like this went from insult to TJ legitimately wondering if Atlanta has a zoo. There's no ulterior motive here. TJ just wants to know if you have a zoo.
I mean, every time I've driven through so fast, I don't have time to look. So
Top 5 tourist attractions in the Atlanta area. Well, we got a zoo, an aquarium.
that's 2. That Atlanta education working out real well. 3 more.
Okay, I was joking. I can really listen along.
Fucking mess you up.
All right. So in all honesty, thanks Blake for showing up. Appreciate it. I'm glad you're part of the community. Watkins, do you have anything that you want to add to this cast before we sign off?
The only thing I got to add is the same thing I've been adding every week. Salary IDP and the Dynasty IDP leagues still accepting owners for the startup waitlist. So if you want a guaranteed spot, they'll start as soon as we're full. Just DM me on Discord.
Do you have any idea when we may start looking or acknowledging that the moderators for the Discord?
That's not what I thought you were going to ask, but that's also a good question. No, I don't.
Cool. Okay. What did you think I was going to ask?
I thought you were going to ask if we were going to start looking at and acknowledging the other leagues that exist under the WFF banner, because obviously we do a lot more than just the Prime League. This little podcast series is just focusing on the Prime League.
Are we going to do any other podcasts with any of the other leagues?
Not podcasts. I'm not doing hour fucking long episodes for the other leagues. That's Prime League specific. I don't got that kind of time. TJ and I are still trying to get our schedules synced up. It didn't work out last week. We'll have to try and figure out if we can do it this week. But we're going to try and start dropping little miniature videos, maybe 10 to 20 minutes long, just as kind of cursory looks at some of the other leagues under the WFF banner. I'm really excited to kind of show people what the salary league looks like, so maybe we can get a little more interest in getting another one set up and getting the IDP one set up, because I think that's going to be the most fun league. of our community this year. Personally, that's the one I'm looking forward to playing in the most. No offense to Prime. Obviously, I'm trying to win in Prime, but I'm really excited to see how the salary cap league works out, and it's all custom setup and custom rules that TJ pretty much came up with on his own. That is TJ's baby league.
Go me.
I really like that format, by the way. I think it'll be fun too. I think everyone's in this weird. It's hard to wrap your head around trades right now. But
yeah, I mid draft went. I have no fucking clue what I'm doing, and just stopped giving a shit, and then traded all of my higher value players away, and now I've got all this salary cap, and I love it.
Yeah, and I honestly haven't touched it since the draft. I need to look and see. Hopefully Burrow's fine because I'm pretty sure he's the guy drafted in there for like $80. So, yeah. For me,
that's all I got.
Yeah, as for me, the only thing that I've got to go over is next week will be NFC West. So for the Cardinals, Niners, Seahawks, and who am I missing?
Rams.
God, yeah, the Rams. Nothing against the Rams owner, just trying to get away from divorce the Rams.
Yes,
as
from one former St. Louisan to a current St. Louisan.
Yes.
Fuck the Rams. Fuck Stan Kroenke.
Any questions for them? Post them up. If any of you four owners want to hop on just for a segment for yourself or for the whole thing, it's cool. I love seeing guys on here talking because it really does seem like every person we put on here knows their stuff and has good information. Yeah, input. That's a better word. After we're done with all 8 divisions, it should be about that time for the NFL to be starting. So we're only like 5 weeks away. When we get done with the 4 divisions, we are going to go. We'll probably do something smaller where it'll just be like
There's 8 divisions.
What'd I say?
4.
After the last 4, after next week.
There you go.
8 divisions. We will we'll probably do something smaller where it'll be just like us projecting who we think is going to win that week.
Yes, definitely not going to be hour-long episodes. Like I've said on the Discord, I'm just referring to these divisional episodes as kind of like a podcast series. There's going to be 8 episodes for the 8 divisions, and then after that, just small little episodes weekly, looking at projections, looking at the matchups for the week, maybe deep dive a couple of them, but not all of them.
Yeah, absolutely. But other than that, that is all I have. And with that, we'll say we'll see you in a week. Good night.